What's up, everybody? My name is Shadow Phoenix. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to some Planet Coaster gameplay here in Kings Falls. My what if park. Like, what if Kings Island, Kings Dominion, Carowinds, that entire chain, what if they'd never been bought out by Paramount and they had built a third Kings Park with the Eiffel Tower? And that is kind of the idea that we are kind of doing here today. So, when I started this, I actually had no clue what I was going to build for you guys this weekend. We finished up Main Street, and I'm still trying to figure out what the layout of the park is going to be, kind of like a blueprint. So I'm still thinking about that, really. But there was one thing that kind of stuck out at me that I was working on some stuff on Friday, and then on Saturday I built this right here. And what are we doing? Well, I decided it was time that we add our carousel into it. So the carousel is the classic ride that you will see at almost every theme park and fair, and you know, everybody loves a carousel. And I thought we need to make something unique, something perfect for our park, something detailed, something incredible, something amazing, and that's what we're going to do today, or at least we're going to attempt anyway. So you've seen people do things like this before, where they make like a circle or something like that, and they do these like really amazing custom roofs and stuff like that. And let me tell you, it's not easy. It's really not. I had so much trouble trying to get these to line up. Like, what you're supposed to technically do is you build something on one side and you duplicate it to the other side, and then you make it kind of go around at a 15-degree angle or 30-degree angle, whatever you want. And that's how it's supposed to work. However, it doesn't work in my case. I could not figure out how to get it to work. I knew where the center was, and I kept trying to work on the center, but I just could not get these things to line up at all. And finally, I just decided, you know what, we're just going to do it by eye, basically. Just by line of sight, we'll line it up that way. And I finally got the roof lines, I suppose you could call them, to kind of work out just about right. They're not perfect, but they're just janky enough that it kind of works for me. And then I had to figure out, okay, so how are we going to do the roof? Because then we had to figure out what material to do the roof out of, what we were going to do. My original thought was I was going to try to use basic shapes, I think, was what I was going to try to do. And that probably would have came out better, because I probably wouldn't have had these angles and stuff going up there like I have right now. And then it probably would have been just so much easier to get everything to line up. But I don't like to do things the easy way. No, sir. We're going to make this as hard as possible. I'm sure there's an easier way that I could have went about this, and I'm sure there are tons of other people out there, better creators than I am, who are, you know, they've got this method down pat and on how to work these things. But I mean, hey, it was about say about 2 hours of work to do this, which isn't too bad, really. So I spent a lot of it just doing the little things like this. The actual design of it came together pretty easily. But anyway, I used the wooden frame posts to kind of go up on the side. The ones that kind of look like they're not really wood, they're more of a smooth kind of like metal or plastic. And I decided I wanted those because I wanted those lines kind of in the middle of it. You really just barely see them in the actual game, but I liked the idea of having the lines kind of right up through there. And I'm sure I could have used the abstract shapes and just went up and just put lines down there myself, but I think that just would have been, in the long run, just harder to do. So I just decided we're going to do this. And it took a few tries to get everything kind of lined up, and that's what you're going to see me do a lot of right here. You'll see me like place things to try to see how things are lining up, delete them, change a couple of things, place them again. That's what a lot of this is. It's a lot of trial and error to get this perfectly set up just the way I wanted. But you know, I think it worked out in the end fairly well. That's really all I have to say about what I'm actually doing, I guess, right now at the moment. Yeah, I mean, the roofs were so hard. You guys have no idea how hard the roof is to get this to work right. And I'm so glad that I finally got it. I mean, I just worked on it and worked on it and worked on it. And then I was just like, you know what? Wait, I'm doing this the wrong way. And then I would think of a new way to do it, and then that would be like, oh, okay, perfect. Magnifique, I got it. And then I would go to put them around and be like, oh yeah, I forgot to do this. And then I have to delete it and like change something, go back, and I'm like, oh, I forgot this. All right, but yeah, we finally got the roof to line up, and then it was like, oh, well, now they're not lining up because the angles and stuff are coming up. So I had something wrong, and I had to replace everything. And I looked at it, and I was like, okay, so here's what we're going to do. So I just changed some of the pieces around a little bit, and then, like, that's what you see me doing here. I had gaps, basically. Certain spots in the roof had gaps. So I had to change those and fix them, and then duplicate it to the other side. Well, at the same time, I also realized that my roof piece itself, like all the little roof pieces I made, weren't lined up. And I tried to grab all of those in the middle and then move them around, but 3D Gizmo strikes again. It wouldn't let me do, even though I built this entire thing on a grid at the angle, like the world grid basically, it still wouldn't let me do it. So I ended up having to grab just the side beams on each side, take those. Now, some of you guys out there might be saying, well, why didn't you take off the left or right hand side so that when you duplicate these around, it looks better? And I thought about that, and I tried it once, which you guys don't see in this video, and it didn't come out right. I had an even bigger gap, so I was just like, alright, that's not going to work, so we're going to do it this way. The way I did it actually came out so much better anyway in the long run. So yeah, it is a few more pieces than what's needed, but you guys know me. Piece count be damned. I will sacrifice piece count over looks any day. You know, my computer can handle it. I mean, yeah, we're probably going to end up at 10 frames a second again, just like Crystal Gardens, but my computer can handle it, and I want it to look good no matter what. So that was kind of the idea. So now we're coming to the trim. So now that we have the roof done, now we got to do all the trim pieces and actually make it look nice and vintage and classic, just like a vintage classic carousel should be. So I messed around with some different versions of what I would think it would look like on each side. And one of the pieces we got actually from the vintage pack, and this isn't actually on the Kings Island, Kings Dominion, blah 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 carousel. It doesn't have these little arch pieces on top of it. The little, I don't know what you'd call it, but yeah, it's just these really cool little designs and stuff. It doesn't have those, but I decided I wanted to put those into it. Now, one thing that they do have though is these little roof edges that I put a lot along the edge right there. It does have those, so I was wanting to put those on there. So once we got those on there, then it's like, all right, let's start messing with colors now. So I knew I wanted red trim, but I wasn't sure what color the roof was going to be. So I tried a few things here. I almost settled on kind of a copperish brown in a way, and then almost like kind of a green. But I decided this light blue would be perfect for our park. Because the park is actually set in like southwest Kentucky, and Kentucky is, you know, our bird is the cardinal, and then of course you got the blue for the wildcats, and you know that's kind of the two colors of our state. And I wanted to kind of do some, you know, kind of with that, and I liked how it came out. The light baby blue, I guess you'd call it, works well with the red. And it definitely gives that, I don't know, it just feels like Kentucky to me, and it feels vintage, and it feels classic and everything. And that's what I was going for, and I really liked how it came out. So now we got the colors done right. We've got our trim and accents done right. And then you just saw me place down the carousel, because the entire time I was building this, I never thought to think, oh wait, does it actually cover the carousel? So I had to place it down. It was like, okay, yeah, we're good on that. Wipe my brow kind of issue right there. It's like, oh, I did all this work for nothing. The trim pieces down there, I still wasn't happy with them, so I went down and I kind of made my own. I combined two of the little wooden trim beams, and that made it pop right there, so I was really happy with that. And then I took some of the new vintage wooden posts that we have with the trim and stuff on it, and I put those around the edges to cover up some of the little gaps that we're going to have on each edge right there. some of the Christmas baubles right on top there, and I messed around with the colors on those for a little bit as well. And then, of course, some lighting, some round globes all the way around, because that's what the actual carousel that I'm referencing has. And yeah, so the next thing we have to do here is the top piece, the topper. I had some different thoughts about this. My first thought is what you see me doing right now. So I took one of the vintage tower pieces, turned it upside down, and put it on top of there. Unfortunately, by the time I was done with this, it didn't really look right at all. And you know, I tried some different things there and tried messing around with it, and I tried to figure out the best way to get a trim piece on top of that would be round, and nothing was really working. I finished this off, like I find all the pieces to make this work, and then I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't like it. It's too big, it's too bulky, and it doesn't work well for what I want. And the last piece I put right there on top is the dome that goes on there, but the dome was too smooth, so I take these little basic shapes and kind of put them around through there to kind of make a little bit of trim. But I mean, it was all for naught. Every single bit of this was just like, it's too bulky. It's too concrete looking, it's too bulky, it doesn't really fit what I want. So instead, I change over and I try to make it smaller. So for our dome, I actually took two of the canvas like storefront pieces, that the awnings, the canvas awnings. I put those on top, and I did this once before in something else. I can't remember what it was I used it on. Oh yes, my quick build for the Six Flags New England entrance. I used this on that, and it came out really well on there. So I used it again here, and then I took the vintage metal poles, I guess is what they are, and put them around like that, and then colored them, and this was coming out much better. The thinner beams, the smaller dome just fit. Just coloring some of the accents and stuff there a little bit more as well. And now we had to figure out one last thing here, which was doing the trim around the bottom of it. I tried these, and I mean, I knew they weren't going to work. As soon as I placed it, I was like, nah, that's just way too big. That's not going to work. So I decided, all right, let's use basic shapes, and we will put those down through there. So we're going to put some wooden trim down on the bottom of each of these poles like that. These wooden bases, I guess you would call them, pole bases. And then we'll take basic shapes and put them in between like so. And then once we get that, then we'll take another basic shape, which is smaller, put it in the middle for a little bit of red trim, and voila, that will be the end of it. And then you guys will get to see its final home here in just a moment. I do want to say though, guys, if you haven't already followed me here on YouTube, make sure you click that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you click that bell to be notified of when my next video is uploaded. I do 1 to 2 videos a day currently, and it's hard work getting these videos out to you guys. So I appreciate all the support. I appreciate you guys watching. And you know, I'm glad to be building these, and I'm glad that I do have the time to do all this. I so enjoy making these videos and being able to build and stuff in my own time and work on it. But it's hard work keeping up, so I appreciate the support. Let's go check out the Carousel's final place. Alrighty guys, and now with the build done, here is the actual finished Carousel in its new home here in Kings Falls, which is going to be right behind the Eiffel Tower. There's still a few more things I gotta do. Like, obviously we gotta do more foliage and some other things around it. We gotta do fencing, stuff like that, but it turned out absolutely stunningly beautiful. And yeah, so I've always said that I just keep wanting to outdo myself with every park that I do. So I started off with Vista View, which was a nice park, and we do plan on getting back to that one at some point. And then I went from that to Whitaker Lake, which was more of an experiment than anything, so it wasn't really my best work. But and then we went to Crystal Gardens, and Crystal Gardens was hands down far above what I was doing in Vista View. And then now we're doing Kings Falls, and Kings Falls is, I'm going to just basically try to better myself here on this park as well. And I really think it's coming out fantastic. And this carousel, I love it. It's not an exact replicate of the ones at King's Island, King's Dominion, Canada's Wonderland, but it's pretty dang close, and that's pretty much what I am looking for. It doesn't have to be exact, it just has to be its own thing and be close. That's good enough for me. So, alright, well, now that you guys have seen everything here that I have built today, I will see you guys in the next episode. And I have no idea what I'm going to be doing. I didn't even know I was going to be building this today, so it was fun to do this, and I'm glad you guys could join me for the building of it. Hopefully you guys like it as much as I do, and if you have any suggestions or anything like that that maybe you would like to see maybe added to it, or maybe in this area, or anything like that, then feel free to put them below. I may not always listen, but I am seeing them, so that's good, and I love hearing the comments and stuff. So, alright, I'm going to head out of here. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will see you guys in the next video on Monday, and until then, wherever you guys are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. See ya.